everybody. Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Here, Ryker, it's looking like that the Raptors are trying to move two players, Jonas Valanciunas and Serge Ibaka.
Yeah. Rumors. They said that they've let us down all offseason thus far. Except for re-signing Fred. That's the best thing they could have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
yes.
What do you think? Well, okay, we've been talking about this tirelessly. Is there any value for Jonas Valanciunas? Is there any value for Serge Ibaka? What kind of deal could we package up? My ideal fantasy here is how do the Raptors get any better? Right? If they stay the exact same team, of course, the passage to the finals is easier now that there's no LeBron as the main resistor. But I don't think that a stagnant Raptors team is going to improve more than a Boston team will improve or a 76ers team will improve. So my fantasy scenario is that Serge Ibaka and Norman Powell or Serge Ibaka and DeLon Wright get packaged up for somebody. And this is what a friend of mine brought up. He said, well, why do you need to trade anybody? Your young talent that you're developing, that's what's being really good on the Raptors. And I said, well, if we're relying on the young talent, why are we keeping around expensive contracts when we could either offload them for picks in the future or other young players to build around? So the dream fantasy would be get rid of Ibaka, get rid of some sort of piece to make the deal more attractive, and then get back in return a younger player, a longer, more athletic player if possible, or even a pick, which I don't think a pick is likely for Ibaka.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting because Masai Ujiri has let it be known the Raptors are trying to make moves, and these are two players that Jonas really stepped up last season. Serge Ibaka kind of took a step back, but we need to clear up some of those big contracts. You said it yourself, and who do you think the Raptors would move, Jonas or Serge? Who would you rather the Raptors move?
This is a fantastic argument, and we're both high on Jonas Valanciunas as just a young, developing player. Yep. Serge Ibaka
hitting
has
threes.
Yeah, shooting threes now, developing the next Steph Curry. Serge Ibaka certainly with his flaws, but I was going to make the argument until I really delved into stats and not just preferences in terms of what I see as a fan of the Raptors and how Jonas seems to be underutilized. Right, I don't think Ibaka could be used better. I think, Jonas could be used better. But at the same time, I thought I had the misinterpretation that Jonas was the less effective player, but that seems not to be true. So before we delve into that, what do you think?
Well, Jonas is like the more better player. Sorry, I'm stuttering, but Jonas he has developed a 3-point shot. He can rebound better. He's bigger. His defense is catching up to Serge, especially where Serge is slowing down last season. I think Jonas is the more valuable piece. But
would everyone agree with that? If you were a non-Raptors fan, do you think people would agree with that?
I think people would agree with that, especially if they watched any game of Serge Ibaka and Jonas last season. I think they'd agree. People that have kept tabs on the Raptors.
Okay.
Maybe not the genuine fan because Serge Ibaka obviously played with Kevin Durant and them, so maybe he's a bigger name. But yeah, just bring up the stats between Jonas and Serge.
Yeah, so this was interesting. I knew that better points and rebounds. I don't even know. I thought it might have been a standstill for points, but Jonas Valanciunas, better points. Okay, so more on the season for last season in terms of averages. Better points, better rebounds, better assists, better field goal percentage, better 3-point percentage, better free throw percentage, and better effective field goal percentage. So he is literally better than Serge Ibaka in every single possible category.
Yeah, especially on the offensive end. Jonas is the more valuable player. I think it's tough to make an argument against that, but the thing about it is, if we're making a trade, we need to get value back. If we trade Serge Ibaka right now without piecing together a young player like you mentioned, it's going to be a dump. It's going to be a Damari Carroll-esque move where we're going to have to trade Serge Ibaka on his big contract along with probably a draft pick for nothing back. That's just realistically how it's going to work. That's how low his value is right now after these playoffs. So if we trade Jonas, who's a 26-year-old center who's evolving his game to be a more modern big with the new 3-point shot and getting in a bit better shape, we could probably get value back for Jonas. So how much value?
So?
We don't know. Yes,
do you think
I
so?
think we definitely get. Yeah, I definitely think we get more value back than Serge. And that 3-point shot for Jonas is super valuable in today's NBA.
But
and he's young. He's a young big man.
Here's the argument, though, is that Jonas Valanciunas is not a good pick-and-roll defender. He doesn't have the ability to step outside and defend other positions. He's not as effective in protecting the rim. He's not as athletic. And he is, sort of an aging center that's becoming obsolete in this league.
Yes, but as I mentioned, the 3-point shot is the best thing Jonas could have did to develop, and just his offensive game can be played in the NBA. We see Jonas started to get under Dwayne Casey. We saw Jonas start to get fourth quarter minutes, and that just proves how far he has come along. And Nick Nurse loves Jonas Valanciunas, so maybe it's very unlikely that he'll get traded, even though Masai Ujiri's thrown it out there that he might get moved. But you mentioned it. Serge Ibaka is the better defender, especially when it's not a back-to-back night, and maybe sliding Serge to center could be fine, and then get value back for Jonas.
And that's the thing, really. If you're looking in terms of a team that would want him that's a contender, a playoff team at least, Jonas is very difficult to use in a game that the opposing team is using small ball, right? He doesn't have the defensive ability to keep up with a smaller lineup. The one thing that he has going for him, or two things, I guess, one, 3-point shooting is fine, but two, he's over 80% in terms of free throws. So at least if you had him out there, he's not a liability in terms of the, hack a player, strategy. But you're right. In terms of small ball, Serge Ibaka is more valuable because you can slide him up to be an undersized 5 that's more mobile. And really in a small ball lineup, he's not even undersized at the 5 position anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Except he's aging. He's aging. That's the one thing. And we don't even know how old he is. So we don't know how tired he's going to be next season.
We won't get into the age thing, but he does look like a very worn-out player. He does look like a worn-out guy. Doesn't matter his age. But Jonas Valanciunas, he definitely has value around the league. The 3-point shot, and I think we could get value back from him. And you mentioned it, Serge Ibaka, even though he's getting a bit more worn down, he still has that defensive prowess as a big at the center. But the issue with Serge is that we watched the Raptors play last season. Serge Ibaka just loves to chuck up these shots, especially when he isn't going good, and it just deflates the offense. Especially in those playoffs last season when Serge Ibaka was just missing so many open threes and mid-range shots. It hurt to watch.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. We started many a pods saying, I wish this man would just start in the inside, play inside-out basketball.
Yep.
And sometimes he was effective, sometimes he was useless, sometimes he'd make his 3 and we'd get so excited we would say, oh, he's not too bad. But yeah, the simple fact is he seemed to be selfish, or he seemed to be a chucker, and it just wasn't effective. I'm considering now, let's say we packaged him up in a deal. So now there's two options, or 3 options. One, we can fleece a team for more value than what he's worth, which we don't have set very high right now. I take it from this conversation. 2, is there the ability to do a deal like the 76ers just went through in terms of, that the Nuggets went through, the 76ers acquired Wilson Chandler, and you said it was for basically nothing. They just got rid of him for cap space. Is there... I'm not entirely sure how this works because we go through, there is a lot of complicated rules. We have the salary cap figured out, but in terms of just dumping a player for nothing, is that something that would be valuable for the Raptors? I think it would be, because I'm a proponent for tightening up the roster so we don't have this awkward predicament where we're playing there's 13 roster players that have the ability to perform. I think we should go down to having 8-9 guys, so in that way we're not leaving value on the table in terms of not having enough minutes to give.
That's definitely fair. If we could dump Serge Ibaka's contract, I think Masai Ujiri would have done that as soon as the playoffs were over. I think that would have been already finished. If some team wants to do that and they're listening to the pod, some other GM, hey, go hit up Masai Ujiri. He's definitely down to do that deal, because if we can get rid of that big money and maybe bring in some more value somewhere else, I think that's the move. I know a lot of the Raptors fan base is very low on Serge Ibaka. Looking at the Reddits and the Twitter and all that, people aren't high on Serge Ibaka right now. And I think if we got rid of him, that'd be the most ideal move. But there's something to be said about dumping with sending away picks, because we sent away 3 draft picks to get rid of DeMar Carroll.
Oh, we should not get rid of picks. If anything, we need to acquire picks.
Yeah. So I don't want to see a dump where Serge Ibaka is making us a dump of Serge Ibaka where there's no value being gained and we're losing stuff. Yeah. But that's why unless a very nice deal happens with Serge Ibaka, I think a Jonas deal is more realistic if these guys are on the block as the rumors speak.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I would agree. I think the only team that would be interested in a Serge Ibaka plus a young player, you'd have to get rid of probably DeLon Wright with Serge Ibaka, would be a team that has enough youth around them and maybe, an awkward kind of low contract big that's not any value, then maybe they'd be willing to get rid of a plentiful, of their plentiful young players to have one stretch big, with a bit of experience. That's the only scenario that I could see happening, but I think it's much more likely, like you said, to see JV go. But I think even more likely than that is nothing happens. This is just the Raptors franchise or the Raptors rumors teasing us again with news to keep us interested in the offseason. I don't think anything will come of it.
Yeah. Like this content, these rumors are good for talking points, but Masai Ujiri is going to if he makes a move, it's probably going to be something we don't see coming. So we'll just be ready for that. Be ready to give you guys the news. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think the Raptors should trade Serge or Jonas or any other moves? Follow the Twitter, the Instagram. We're going to keep the content coming. Raptors news. Come to the Raptors Digest. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.